Hello, everybody. This is Sunday Adelaja today. And today, what I want to continue doing is, first of all, to remind you that this is DSA philosophy. What is this about? This is a genre that I started to share with hungry people, with young people, because I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm an old man now. So I'm 50. And at 50, I think it's time to begin to leave some kind of legacy. And so as part of my legacy, I don't want to get to a time or to a place whereby some researchers are traveling up and down and trying to talk to some people to try to understand what were the philosophies of Pastor Sunday Adelaja or Dr. Sunday Adelaja. What did he build his life on? What are the principles he built his life on? Since I'm still alive, why don't I just give you those principles? That's why we started this series that is called DSA philosophy. So what are they about? These are ideas and ideals upon which God has helped me to build my life. So my ideas and ideals upon which I built my life. And the philosophy of life and principles that have helped me to attain some form of results that have made me who I am today. Today, because I am mostly known as pastor, I will be sharing with you my philosophy as a pastor. And I think this will go a long way to helping the next generation of pastors. You know, there used to be a time when I was a young pastor myself, and I used to look for the concept. What is it that is behind the great pastors of the world and the great pastors of history? What are the philosophy? What are the concepts upon which they build their ministries and their churches? And I just kind of feel that even if not for today, that sometime in future somebody might be interested in this kind of a question, to want to know what was the concept, what was the philosophy, what was the idea, what were the ideals that made Pastor Sunday to go to another continent and another culture and attain the kind of result that he attained. And because I'm talking on my philosophy, I will just make it in form of a statement, and then I will try to explain to you a little bit. So the statement is this: Pastor Sunday, as a pastor, when I was starting out to plant the Embassy of God Church in Ukraine, I made up my mind that my philosophy or my mission for myself, not the mission statement of the church, but my personal philosophy and ideal will be that my mission is not to build a church. So my mission is not to build a church, but to impose God on the consciousness of the nation. So my mission as a pastor, even though I had not started the church yet, but in my mind, I was 26 years old, and I was praying about starting this church. And, you know, in the process of seeking the Lord, I got to discover that it doesn't matter the amount of members I get to have. Even if I get to have 10 million members, that is still not the goal. So the goal for me is not to build a local assembly that just has a lot of people in it and then I'm taking them to heaven. No. The goal for me was to build a church that would become a platform. So the church to me has always been the platform, whereas the nation has always been the auditorium. Now, when you imagine any church today, you will discover that any church at all has a platform or has a pulpit. Now, what I'm saying is, for me, in my mind, the pulpit is the church, no matter how big it is. So if let's say we have 25,000 people in Kiev, Ukraine, in this capital city of Kiev, 25,000 people, that amount of people is only my pulpit, the podium upon which I stand. But in any church, you have the pulpit, the podium, the platform, then you have the auditorium, right? You have the hall. Now, so in my mind, the Embassy of God Church, 25,000 people, is just the pulpit, it's just the platform, but in the real sense, the auditorium is not within the four walls of the church. The auditoriums can never be in the four walls. So the auditorium, therefore, is the nation. So the church is where I stand. That is my arena. That is my arsenal. That is my powerhouse. So, but that is also the platform that gives me visibility. So the church is only an instrument for pushing forward the kingdom agenda to the whole nation. That is to say, you know, when a pastor stands on the pulpit, he is ministering and speaking to the congregation, to the auditorium, to the people sitting in the auditorium. But in my own case, I see my church as the podium, but the auditorium that I speak to is the whole nation. So the auditorium is the whole nation, and my assignment, my message is to impose the consciousness of God to the mind of the nation. Not on the people only, not just on a certain group of people, not just on my members, not just on my followers, not just on the members of the Embassy of God, but my assignment is to use the platform of the Embassy of God and challenge the conscience and the consciousness of the whole nation, no matter their religion, and no matter their denomination, and no matter where they belong. They might not come to my church, but I want to minister to the nation in such a way that everybody will wake up to the awareness of the reality of God. Now, they might eventually not come to my church. Let them go to any church they want to go to. But if I could succeed in waking up the consciousness of the nation, if I could impose God upon the soul of the nation, if I could impose God upon the consciousness of the nation, for them to know that there is a mighty God in heaven that loves them, that cares for them, even if they will never go to church. But if that awareness will come to them that I need God, and whenever they meet life situations, no matter where they are, they could go to Catholic church, they could go to Orthodox church, they might not even identify themselves as a church goer. But if that awareness will be everywhere, automatically, you know, in the ambience of the nation, in the environment, in the consciousness of the nation, that God is here. Either you're in the bus, God is here. I can touch him. If I could succeed in bringing that awareness, that consciousness to the whole nation like that, that when they're in the farm, they know they could stop and get him and meet with him. When there is a quarrel, when they are in the office building, when they are in the corporate meetings, for them just to know, yes, I saw that guy on TV. Yes, I heard about that guy. Yes, that guy, there is a God that this person has been speaking about. I can get him. He's here with me. So why that is important is, so what do I then do with the people in my congregation? If my mission is to the nation, then what am I doing with the particular people in the four walls who are counting themselves as members of the Embassy of God? What do I do with them? Simple. I train them. So the four walls of the church, therefore, becomes a training ground for everybody coming to the Embassy of God to see themselves as ministers to the whole nation in whatsoever capacity and in whatsoever field they find themselves in. So people come to me and call themselves the members of the Embassy of God, therefore, are being trained day to day, so that when they leave that church on Sunday, they know that from Monday to Saturday, they are full-time ministers, wherever life will take them, or wherever their fields of endeavors are. So, see that philosophy. We even went to the extent of training them and helping them to identify their callings and to identify their spheres of influence as well. And also how to effectively minister at their workplace, in the marketplace, in the transport, but not necessarily being religious. So in our church, as a result, we don't do evangelism. We don't go about it the street and invite people to church. No, we already train everybody to carry the presence of God and to learn to release, to touch people everywhere they are with the touch of God's love. So as soon as they come across anybody and they release the touch of God's love upon them and the principles of the kingdom, the people themselves, unbelievers, begin to follow them and ask of them to be taken to the church. And that's how the church grows. Just by releasing God everywhere you go. We're basically saying believers are God carriers. And believers are kingdom imposers. Two things. God carriers, but from Monday to Saturday, kingdom imposers. But that's just with a philosophy. In my mind, in my heart, in my consciousness, that the church is not a building, and the church is not some group of 10,000, 20,000 people in a congregation, and we say mission accomplished. No. Therefore, my mission was never to build a church, but the church is an instrument, is a means to imposing God upon the consciousness of the whole nation. I hope you remember that. If this helps you, I'll be glad. Thank you. Peace. If you have been watching our videos and maybe you enjoy them, maybe you don't enjoy them, but still, we need you to help us spread the word. And for that to happen, we only need you to take 5 little steps. Please help us spread this word by liking the video. Then, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We also need you to press the notification button, and the way to do that is to click on the bell. You see the bell there? Click on it. Then, of course, leave your comments. Let's know what you're thinking about each video. And finally, we need you to go and share the word. Share this video on your Facebook timeline, on your Instagram, and every other platform that you have. All right? Let's win the world for Christ. Thank you so much. Peace.